Recording live from Paris, France.
Hey,
No,
let's
not.
light a match on this and get it going.
Wait, that wasn't even a pun.
I know. I just wanted to say.
You just wanted to light a match.
Bro.
You just wanted to light a match. Hello, everyone.
I've been playing with these box of matches like as a fidget toy for like a long time. Okay, sorry. Yeah, hi.
Yeah, welcome on in, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Hot Mess Moments.
Wow, it's so hot. Well, let's strike a match and make it hot in here.
Perfect. Hot Mess Moments. Literally, there is a flame in our logo.
Yeah.
The way you said that. But welcome on in, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Hot Mess Moments, where we're covering another amazing episode of The Nanny. Ooh, that was beautiful.
Thank you. You're welcome. It was just like the outburst I had yesterday on the subway.
You have to tell the story. Okay, for anyone that's new here, if you're new here, we go on tangents at the beginning of our episode.
Yeah, we don't properly introduce ourselves. Like we kind of do little bits of it throughout the first like 10 minutes of the show.
Yeah.
And then we get into it. But I just moved to New York City like a few months ago and I sold my car. And before I moved to New York, everything that I ever did like around my apartment or like in my office at work, because I had a lot of space and everything, is I always used to kind of sing to myself and everything. I still do that a little bit here. But I would always belt out everything in my car. Like no shame. I would sing every musical, every pop thing, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Well, we are in the middle of spoopy season. So I was listening to Kim Pettras's turn off the light, turn on the light, turn off the light, turn off the light.
Something
she
like
wants
that.
to make it spoopy. But I was listening to her album and the song Close Your Eyes happens. And at the very end of like this like instrumental break in the middle of the song, she just goes, I feel it coming on, like that. And I could not help myself. I sang that so loud in the middle of the subway car. And like, I'm sure because I just like was very like sitting there, no emotion on my face. And then all of a sudden I'm like, I feel it coming on. And like everyone around me like turned and like looked at me like, what's happening? And then like I had like my eyes closed. I could tell. And then I opened them up and I like saw everyone around me. And then I just went, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And like a couple people giggled or were like, it's okay. And then the other people literally were like holding on the rail like,
that's so New York.
That's so New York.
That's so New York.
Oh man.
But yes, that welcome on in. I was gonna try to introduce ourselves, but honestly, that's so relatable because Kim Petras, that her songs slap, the Halloween soundtrack slaps, and also you're very good at singing. So you gave them a show. They should have paid you. They should have tipped you.
I'm not mad. Honestly, I'm not. Was it annoying them? No. It was a free 3-second concert in a subway car on the A train.
And that relates to our episode today that we are covering, concerts.
Oh, it do.
It do.
Imagine if I had been singing Stone Temple Pilots.
I would be here for it. But welcome on in, everyone. My name is Dylan Zahner, also known as 8-Bit Dylan. I have never seen The Nanny before, so I'm watching for the very first time. And Lost is my favorite show. That's another show we cover. I'm sorry, I just hit my mic, so this is take it over, Beth.
And I'm Beth, and no, just kidding. Just throw my mic around. And I'm Beth Dixon, also known as Augusta Wind 11. The Nanny is my all-time favorite show. I mean, before we watched this tonight, which is season 2, episode 4, material Fran, I literally finished watching the season 5 finale of The Nanny amazing. For like my 70,000th time. Like it was, it's just what I do.
And you cried.
Maybe.
Oh, I tried to price of it. Oh, you're good. I was really digging. I was like, did she cry? Is it emotional? Let me know. But yes, this is Hot Mess Moments. We cover Lost and The Nanny. This is our Tuesday episode, which means that we are covering another episode of The Nanny. If you are new here, make sure to check us out on Apple Podcasts. Leave us a review, 5 stars. Leave us a written review if you can.
Awesome.
If you want to watch the video version, it's over on YouTube. Make sure you give us like a like, subscribe. Check us out on Twitter at Hot Mess Moments. Help support the show in a free way,
Yeah, absolutely. And if you feel like sponsoring us for like $1,000 each, I mean, you could do that too.
Yes, it's a hobby, but I'll take money.
I'll take money. We do this for money. I was just gonna say we do this for free, and like I guess technically we don't because we do have a couple things that we have to pay for, but like it's
we definitely go in the negative.
We go in the negative with this, but like we go in the positive in our hearts.
Exactly. Like this is fun. This is like us just talking about shows that we love, even though it costs me money every week. I don't care.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It costs us time and money, but honestly, fuck time and money. It's all about like the wholesomeness of the comedy, like the sex jokes that they made, many of them tonight.
Oh,
like getting rear-ended.
I have comments. It was so good.
But one caveat before we get going, I do want to remind people, this is a spoiler-free podcast. So for those that are just tuning in, Dylan doesn't know what happens in The Nanny. I don't know what happens in Lost. So what we try to encourage people to do is to reach out to us individually, me being the Nanny expert, Dylan being the Lost expert. If you wanted to discuss things, if you have fun things for us to look at, or if you want to tell us a comment like, oh, it's so funny Dylan said this because in season 6, blah, 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 blah happens. And I'll be like, hell yeah, that is funny, or whatever.
Gracie goes on a homicidal rampage.
I mean, she might.
You never know.
Could you? But make it comedy.
Yeah, they're all like, "Oh, she just gutted that man."
Well, it is funny because I feel like the beauty of our Lost show is that I just come out with like so many theories, and then I'll be like, I don't have a theory for this, but what I'm thinking is, and then I give you like a full theory.
It's a full theory,
and like it's hard to do that with a comedy, like especially a '90s sitcom and such. But what I really do like is the every week when I'm like, okay, this is the title of the next episode. What do you think is going to happen?
And I was so off. I was kind of.
That far off. Remember when I was like,
she stumbles upon money, and
you were like, she gets a lot of money and kind of gets her head a little bit, and then like, but you had like she was the one that came into money and had all this stuff, and I was like, okay, let's not it.
Yeah, that's true. I was pretty close.
You were pretty close comparative to other things. Like, remember when we were trying to say, I don't remember Mama? You were way off.
Oh, girl.
You were way off.
I was way off. But that episode ended up being really, really good. Before we get into it, quick wrap up. How was your week so far?
Since
last time we talked. Yeah.
Yeah. I just super busy. Work is really crazy. Today was actually really cool. I didn't know that this was a thing, but Atlantic Avenue. So when Dylan came to visit me, he knows that I live like a couple blocks away from Atlantic Avenue, which is a huge avenue that runs all the way through across Brooklyn. Okay. And that's the avenue that we drove all the way back after dropping Duskboard off at.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So they shut down the portion that I live near in Cobble Hill, on that area, and it's like a 6-hour fair on the street and they call it Atlantic Antic. And I went, and there were like tons of food, like vendors, tons of like small businesses. And then all the stores and bars and everything along the way were open and such too. The vast majority of the vendors were all from different cultural, like African countries, and especially African countries. Like there was like a whole bunch of like Kenyan and Ethiopian and Ugandan, but like Malawi. There was South African. Like there was all these like different. Like it was pretty amazing. Like they had like a whole, I'm trying to think of what the one was. Oh, Moroccan. They had a really cool Moroccan stand and such too. Yeah. But they had a whole bunch of art. They had a whole bunch of street art. They had a whole bunch of wonderful, I got a pie from this one like soul food place, and I haven't tried it yet. It's a pecan pie. They had sweet potato pie that my cousin got. So I'm so excited.
Pecan.
What do you say, pecan?
I'm gonna fight you now. We're going to fight you.
I'm verse when it comes to. I'll say pecan with it. I'm not too precious about it, but my default is to say pecan.
So you like to pee in a can. I see.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I brought Nigel, my husband. He's from Ireland, for anyone that's listening in. I brought him to his first American fair, which was fun. So we went to this like small town fair in Missouri, and it was boring
Was
as
there
fuck.
corn?
No, there was no corn, but there was like 3 to 4 rides. There was
there
carnival
funnel cake?
games. There was funnel cake. He didn't have any. He's not a big funnel cake
Deep
person.
fried Oreos?
It was a small town, so it wasn't like
there were deep fried Oreos on the street here, and I was like, "What kind of country fair?"
Yeah, deep fried Oreos.
Deep fried
Twinkies.
Fairs. They didn't do Twinkies here.
Yeah, deep fried everything. Everything and
time out.
What?
Time out.
What?
My brother was in line to get the deep fried Oreo, and I was talking to my cousin's girlfriend, and I was like, "Liz, do you think I've literally never had a deep fried Oreo.
Yeah.
I was like, I've never had one. Do you think I should try one?" And this wonderful woman in front of me just turns around and goes, mm-mm. And I went, "What?" And she goes, I said, no good on the black or on the Oreo, like the deep fried Oreo. And she's like, "Hell no, that's not good for you." And I was like, "We're in line for cheese fries and onion rings right now." And she was just like, no, it's unnecessary. This woman just literally goes, mm-mm-mm. She goes, "Anything that is black should not be deep fried." And I was like, "Do tell. Like, what do you mean by that?" She was like, "First of all, nothing is that color already. That is unnatural. So you're taking something unnatural, making it more unnatural, so that's already bad for you, and making it 50 times more bad for you." And then she gets up to the window and orders mozzarella sticks, a huge cheesy hamburger. And I was like, this woman's a queen. I love her. It was so great.
Welcome to Brooklyn.
It was great. Liz and I just looked at each other. We're like, oh.
That's actually, it sounds fun though. Like I'm
cool.
jealous of that. Yeah, that was basically my weekend. And your weekend, I'm kind of envious because Nigel's into that kind of stuff. So we just need to make our way back up to New York soon.
Or you could just move here.
I'm good. I'll stay with my cheap ass lifestyle in nowhere, Missouri. Loving it.
Nowhere, Missouri.
With my 3-bedroom apartment, love it. I will keep it.
I like my 1-bedroom apartment that doubles for I have the entire city at my disposal.
That's true. You do have that upside to me. Like the biking, the walking. Oh, it's gorgeous.
The roof.
I love Brooklyn. The roof. Oh my God, the roof. The roof is amazing.
I haven't been up on the roof to hang out since you guys left, though. I mean, I've been up there a couple times, just be like, "Oh, it's nice," and then leave. But that's about it.
Well, it's because we're iconic.
It's because every time I go up there, I go, "I just wish Dylan was wearing my sweatpants on the very top of the roof."
Oh no, I forgot. I tried my first sweatpants, and the girl was not it.
I've only worn them once, and ever since I'm like, you know what? I think I'm just gonna give these to you because I don't wear them that often.
I'm good. The world does not need to see me. They were not sweatpants. They were like those stretchy fabric
joggers.
I don't know. They're not. Yeah, joggers are different. They were not loose fabric. They were skin tight.
On you, yeah. Well, to be fair, with these trunks that I've got,
oh girl,
they're skin tight too. No, this is actually the inherent difference right here of how they design men and women's clothing. Yeah. Joggers on plus size women end up being tight, kind of loose when you get down to the calves. And I'm like, ain't nobody got time for that. You got to make sure it's nice and big all the way around.
Yeah. And then for guys, joggers are just always baggy. All right, we're so
off to. Speaking of fashion, let's get into this episode of The Nanny.
Yeah, so this is The Nanny, season 2, episode 4, Material Fran.
She was there. That's how she became the nanny.
So I think that overall, this is probably, for me, one of the weakest episodes of season 2. There's still good moments in it.
Yeah.
I ultimately like this episode a lot more than most of the episodes in season 1. But I think to me, this kind of shows the strength of if this is a weaker episode, where we're heading.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Yeah, I didn't hate it. I didn't hate this episode at all. I thought it was really funny. It was very witty. It had a really silly storyline to it. Overall, I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10.
That's pretty generous.
Yeah. No, I really didn't hate it.
No.
My one issue is they relied a lot on jokes that they've used in the past, or like bits that they've used in the past over and over again. And the kids in this episode weren't that funny. They didn't really have that good funny moment for any of them,
Right.
To like really shine. And most of the comedy comes from Fran and Val, with like obvious Niles and CC moments, but mostly it's Fran and Val this episode, which I appreciate. I love when Val comes in and like steals the show.
Even Maxwell had a few funny lines, and that's
Maxwell
like,
too. Yeah,
you know, it's a weird episode if Maxwell's a comedic character.
Oh, for sure. Scene. Yeah. But yeah, overall, I'll give this a 7 out of 10. The storyline was good. I liked that we got to see Fran get pampered a little bit. I thought it was really funny seeing the dynamic of Niles and Maxwell joking around. It kind of reminded me of their like boyhood friendship when they were young, and they were like cracking jokes on Theo. There's a lot of like ageism jokes, but honestly, they didn't come at a gross point. They were like more of, ha ha, Theo's about to die, like as a joke. Like,
yeah. Well, and Theo was part of the reason he made the joke himself. Be still, totally. My heart, not too still.
And I can't remember the actor's name.
I don't know the actor's name off the top of my head either. I will look it up quickly while we're chatting.
So let's get we'll break this down little by little for this episode. So it starts off. Oh, I'm so sorry. Again, we record these late at night. So Gracie, it starts off with Gracie being invited to Jody's slumber party. And this is like a B plot that goes literally nowhere, which is another downside to this like episode that feels like it goes by way too fast. It's like a 20-minute episode that really feels like it's like a 12-minute one.
It goes quick.
And that's because for a normal Nanny episode, there's usually like a B plot line, and in this one the B plot line is like this Maggie concert that Maggie wants to go to, but it like merges into the main storyline, so it doesn't feel like a B plot. And so I guess the B plot we have to like fall back on is this slumber party that Gracie wants to go to, which we get like no development on that, and the little development we do get, I don't care about, like, oh, she needs her teddy bear, but there's no like comedic punchlines during those moments that you're like,
I think that's really fair. And something I've noticed upon my many now rewatches of this series is that very quickly they start to focus, like the first season is very much like developing the kids and such. And then it turns into, okay, where's our gold really? And let's make our time and investment there. And it's almost like I have a feeling what they've done is written a contract. It's like all children will appear in every episode, but mostly for like a token scene to have them in sometimes. Like sometimes it feels like that. Like and sometimes they have incredibly good storylines that involve the children, but they are used more as like a plot device than they are like actual characters and such sometimes.
Totally. And in this episode, that they definitely felt like background characters, though I will say Maggie almost took outfit of the episode, because some of those dresses she was wearing were very cute and very in fashion now.
I was just going to say that black and white striped top one with the black,
very cute.
You could wear that now and be in style.
The lace top, purple and green floral, like it's like a very muted colored dress. So cute. I was like, cute. Oh,
you know what I mean now? That she always wears like white, like stockings and like a cute dress or whatever. Like it's either like really light, like pastel kind of color, nothing too bright, but like, she can't be the one that pops over like Fran, right? So they had to give her a more muted style, but one that is cute, shows that she is fashion forward and coming into her own. And I love that about her character.
What I need them to stop doing is relying on turtlenecks for Fran. I'm so over seeing Fran in like a dress and a turtleneck, or a jacket and a turtleneck, a vest
I'm sorry,
and a turtleneck.
this is 1994. Turtlenecks were it.
It's so annoying. I was like, I want to see those clavicles, mama.
And it's like so funny too, because I remember having to wear turtlenecks like all the time. I hated them. I always went like this and like pulled my collar down. My mom would be like, you're stretching at your top. And I'm like, I want to wear this. I was such a brat. Everything. I was like this little tomboy who like never wanted to wear dresses or anything like that. And every time I wore a dress, I'd go, it's itchy. It's itchy. And it wasn't itchy. It's just that like dresses are super uncomfortable when you have to put like a whole bunch of like chiffon and such on it. Like that's not a comfortable thing for like a 5, 6, 7-year-old to be wearing.
Totally. No.
Stop doing that, companies, if you're still doing it.
Stop it.
Stop.
Stop it. Don't say that.
Don't say that. Stop. Stop.
I fucking hate that. It's like, I don't know why that like triggers a response in my brain that I'm
Dylan,
like, no.
Stop.
No. Oh my God, stop. That feels so weird. Dylan James Zayner.
Oh, James?
Yeah, James.
That's my brother. That's like the Dixon family name. That's my brother's middle name.
Oh my God.
That's my grandpa's name.
Zayner's not my real last name. It's not.
I wasn't talking about Zayner.
No. I'm sorry. We were talking about James. So I said, I thought you were about to say my name again. I thought you were about to say Dylan James Zayner again. No. And I was like, well, technically Zayner's not my real last name, but that's just what I say. Dylan James Zayner. I don't know why. I thought you were about to go Dylan James Zayner.
No. I was just explaining that James is like the family name in my family, to the point where I've thought a lot about like how I would use James. And I think if I were to ever have children, which is not likely, but if I ever did, and I had a girl, I'd want to name her James. I think I like James for a girl.
Yeah.
And you know who doesn't like it? Literally everyone in my family, which makes me want to do it more.
Do it. Do James, last name Sawyer.
Oh, I also loved Dax Shepard and Kristen Bell named their daughter Lincoln, and I love that too.
I hate that.
I love it.
Because like, what do you shorten that to? Lynn?
Why not like Lily or something? I don't know, like
colon.
I held my nose and it made me snort. Colon.
Come here, little baby colon.
First of all, that is as many syllables as Lincoln. So you might as well just keep it as like Link.
Link. I'm fucking stupid. How do we I like colon though. Oh, baby colon.
Okay, I feel like that's a really pointed thing because I have Crohn's. That I would name my child.
Come here, poopy McColin.
No, you little poop. Are you little poop? Are you little shit?
That poor child.
If you have been affected by the following nicknames, you might be entitled to a class action lawsuit.
If your name is Lincoln, you're now named Colin. Sorry about it. I don't make the rules, but I do. Just like
the brand of cars that Matthew McConaughey is always talking about. I get behind myself a colon.
What? I've never heard this.
No, he gets behind a Lincoln. Lincoln cars are like what he like.
Oh, I'm a fucking idiot.
All right. I get behind myself.
All right. Fucking Matthew McConaughey. You know what?
Please.
This makes me think. I don't know why. Talking about Matthew McConaughey makes me think about this. Who do you think, if they were to do, we'll get back to the recap of this episode because honestly, this episode goes by pretty fast. But if they were to do a modern day version of The Nanny,
Okay.
who do you think the guest characters would be?
Oh, I love this game. Okay. I have spent so much time.
She's like, she pulls out a journal. She's like, I've written every single episode.
I have almost written a sensual fanfic, but like I've wanted to write like where I think it should pick off. So I'm not gonna go in that route. I would do like if they redid it.
Yeah, rebooted it. New family, new kids.
Like new family, new kids, that kind of thing. Okay.
Yeah.
I think so the guest stars would have to be a mixture of political figures, socialites, people who are pop stars and like Broadway stars. And then you just have to have like people who are like just generally on TV sometimes, like like a variety of different roles. So I could see people like Fred Armisen making like I try to find like comedic people. Like I could see like so many of the members from like SNL I wouldn't want all of them, but you know what I mean? Like Kate McKinnon, like if Kate McKinnon's not like a wacky character on the show, like as a guest star one episode, like I could see it. I could see AOC coming on as herself on the show. I could see, they talk about people like that all the time.
This isn't who I was looking up, but I just popped into my head. Ali Wong. I would love to see. Ali Wong as the nanny.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I could see that. I could see her rocking that role.
I want someone who has like, so it's hard for me to not have it be like, Cardi B. Jewish American woman. No, I love Cardi B. I don't want her to be the nanny. Like, here's the thing. If they ever reboot it, I'm in line. I'm watching it. Like, don't get me wrong.
Sign me up.
There's literally nothing they could do that
we will recap.
Because I would know that it's a different entity. They could literally pick up where they left off and like pretend like they're not old at all and be like, this all happened and we're all the same age. And I'd be like, oh my God.
It's set in 2021 still for some reason. Like, we're a time loop.
It's just like, this ended in 1999, but it's just 2000 now. And I'm like, what? Yeah. Okay. Like, but if they literally, they could do whatever. And I'd be like, fine with it.
Damn. Okay, cool.
Because I have so much of a love for the show and I've seen it so many times that like I crave seeing something new, but I also like recognize that like there's literally nothing they could do that would ruin what I love so far.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I definitely could think of ways they could ruin it. But
they could ruin it and I would still be like, okay, but they didn't ruin the 6 seasons before. You know what I mean? Sense. So I could just be like, oh, I just don't like it as much or whatever. I'm excited to see the Nanny musical whenever it's done.
That's going to be super cool.
And
we'll do a review of it.
Would you come to New York and we watch it together?
Absolutely. I would absolutely fly. I would have to hopefully finish the show because they'd probably spoil what happens in the Nanny in the musical, but I would absolutely do it. Well, do you know when it comes out?
She hasn't done writing it yet. What's the woman's name?
We'll be here for a while. We'll be here for a while reviewing the show.
Right. What's the woman's name that did Crazy Ex-Girlfriend? Her name's like Rachel or something like that.
I don't.
It's like 3 names. Boom, boom, boom.
Rachel, Android Lloyd Webber.
That's really funny. And I know you don't know why that's funny, but it is funny. I just want to put that out there.
I'm just stupid and
going back to like a really, 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 really old point of like, we don't know the name of the actor who played.
Oh, yeah. What happened?
His name is Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. He's best known for doing a lot of voice acting in Batman, the Justice League as Alfred. And
you know what's crazy is
Superman?
when I was watching this, I was like, I know for a fact I have heard his voice somewhere before.
That
does not surprise me.
All throughout the 90s, all the animated shows, he did that. He also was a voice actor for Turbocharged Thunderbirds.
See, that's where I know him from.
And then it looks like he also was like, I think he was just another one of those actors that just was like on a lot of different shows, which is why I tried to think about like who are the people who are on like a whole bunch of different shows but don't have like their own lead. You know what I mean? Like who are those people in
Ooh.
2021 that we could see coming in as a guest star that people would be like, I know that face, but I don't know who they
Yeah.
are. You know what I mean?
I have to think about that. That is actually super tough to think about.
Because
Like
that's what a lot of these are. So you do have like, you know, your Dan Aykroyds who were there for a split second.
Amy Poehler coming in for an
Tina
episode.
Fey. Like, I mean, yeah,
Yes.
sure. That
Maya
makes a lot of
Rudolph.
sense.
Give me Maya Rudolph shows up on an episode. I'm crying.
Rachel
you know?
Dratch. Like, honestly, like you could have a whole bunch of those. Mindy Kaling, I mean, which would be so good.
Yeah. Oh my God. See, now that's got my main. There's like so many so many great comedians they could like add in here.
But it's hard to be like, who would you want as the nanny, right? Like
I say Ali Wong.
Who is the Fran Drescher character? Because while I agree that would be good, I can't help but think like I need someone with a unique, weird accent who has a very specific cultural place, right?
That's true.
And like I think that I'm like trying to figure out like even if it's not like, you know, Jewish woman from Queens, like who's that like unique bringing it like a random thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They'd have to like really.
And it has to be working class too. So you can't have someone like you can't be like, okay, who's someone unique and has a like weird accent or whatever that everybody do. Oh, I know. Let's do Kourtney Kardashian. Be like, oh my God. So
Absolutely not.
Scott was coming here. Like, you know what I mean? Like you have to find someone who is like lower class and like has the working class blood in them, right? So it's just so interesting to like think about that kind of stuff, which is why I get why she said Cardi B. Like I get it.
Totally. But she hits all those check marks, all those boxes. Because Cardi B's voice is like Cardi B. Like,
coronavirus.
Yeah, exactly. It's Cardi B.
Come on.
So sorry, we got so off tangent. Back to the episode recap.
So
it was all Nanny. It was Nanny talk.
It was all Nanny talk, but it was all good. But yeah, so his name, once again, Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. and his father was apparently a Russian-born concert violinist.
Interesting.
Wow.
So we get to this party that Cece is putting together. It's a bunch of women who are married to or connected to very rich men. And so Cece is trying to get them to fundraise for one of Maxwell's upcoming shows as opposed to a charity that helps children, which is very Cece. Dan, those thirsty kids aren't going to take my money away or something like that.
Yeah, basically.
I fucking love Cece. I will say, I'm going to say it right now. LVP definitely goes to Cece this episode. Mm-hmm. For sure. LVP, Cece's just fucking awful. She does nothing good that she does. She's like evil. She just says awful things about Fran going after Theo and then goes after Theo herself by the end of the episode. Hilarious.
Hypocrite.
Yes, major hypocrite, but also icon. Hello.
Dude, that's the best part about a show like this, right? Is that like there are times where the LVP is just glaring and you're like, oh, okay, whatever. But then there are times that you're like, they're the LVP, but I loved it.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Slay Cece.
Slay Cece.
I love when Cece fully embraces her antagonistic roots, and it's perfect here. So she's hosting this party, and Fran accidentally interrupts it as Maxwell's like going around meeting people because Brighton's running around harassing Gracie with the bear with the plot that we don't care about. And Fran runs into Kathy Marie, some woman that she went to school with back
Kathy Marie Onassis or O'Massey, sorry.
And they went to Flushing High together. And Kathy kind of pretends to not recognize Fran or know who Fran is around like the higher class people. Mm-hmm. But we quickly learn when Fran goes back into the kitchen that, oh, bitch, Kathy knows her because Val shows up and they're having this moment and they're talking all this shit about Kathy. She's so old. She's ugly. She's aged like a bowl of fruit. She got all the work done, all that stuff. And then Kathy comes in and what Kathy says is so funny. I truly can't remember, but I just remember fucking laughing my ass off.
Comes in, she goes, "Will someone please tell me where the powder room is?" And as Fran's getting up to be like, "Oh yeah, I could tell you," she goes, "'Cause I busted out of gym class and I'm here for a smoke."
Yes, and the way she says that and the accent that comes through is so Queens.
Yeah, after she was just putting on like a
no.
kind of accent out there. Yeah.
She like nowadays she'd have like her lips like up to her like nostrils and like, hello. There, exactly, Beth, like that. For those that aren't on the video version, you're missing out. You're missing out on that's terrible lip job that she just did. Oh my God.
It's the unevenness for me. Hold on. I can't.
Beautiful.
I can't even talk.
Oh, that's beautiful. Love that. Love that for you. Love it.
I realized I was also pulling my eyes down when I was doing that.
Yeah, you were like giving me like demon, like sleep paralysis demon vibes.
You're not the first man who's told me that.
Oh my God.
I'm
the honor.
everybody's sleep demon paralysis person. Da, 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 da. Yeah.
We love that, especially when you scream and sing on subways and scare the shit out of people. like what is going on?
It's building up my OG reputation.
Yeah. Where was it? Oh, that's right. Kathy. So Kathy shows up and they're like reconnecting, talking about high school. And Kathy's like, I can hook you up with this guy that's friends with my husband. And Fran's like, no, I don't know. He's got money. Stop being so fucking insensitive.
Prejudice. Are you so prejudiced against
money?
Just because he has money? He's got enough money for 2 Ferraris.
Oh my God.
He owns a home in Monte Carlo.
I'm so sorry. I should have thought before I spoke.
He owns a diamond mine and has a private jet.
I am so prejudiced. I am so sorry.
I have to work through this.
It's so good. It's so fucking dumb. I love it. But we eventually, well, first we learned that Val isn't into rear ending, which is so funny. Love the fact that Val's not into anal sex.
My favorite part, well, see,
and I love her face when she delivers the line. She's like, I'm not into that.
Oh, I'm not into that. I'm not.
I'm not into that.
It's so good to like. I wish y'all could like. We should just do like a time. We'll set a time and place, and we do a live showing of a viewing of this because your facial reaction. I knew that was coming up, and I'm trying to check myself so that I don't go and wait for you to. But I fully waited.
No, you did not. And here, this is what I thought was funny. You are like the facial liar. You were like this. You were like, oh my God, I forgot. And I was like, bitch, you knew. You're not fooling anyone. Literally, it happened. I started laughing and you went like, oh, like we did like this whole shocked. I was like, don't act shocked. You've seen this episode probably like 20, 30 times. Don't even.
There are times
quote this line for line.
I mean, there are times where, like, regardless of how many times I've seen this, because I don't watch season 1 and 2 that often, I normally pick it up at season 3. There are lines where I'm like, oh yeah, that's a good one. You know what I mean? But I do, because what I try basically will happen too is like, I'll kind of be like, oh yeah. Then I'll look at you reacting and it makes me want to react and like laugh to it. Like, that subconscious thing where like when you're, this sounds like I'm going to be giving myself a pat on the back, and I am. But when you're a good communicator, you often like take on how other people are reacting to things. So that's what makes watching
so good.
I'm such a good communicator.
I'll whisper in your ear and poop on your carpet. I don't know. I just wanted to see your reaction. I'm so so sorry for anyone listening. We're very delirious.
I can't talk like that. I don't know about that. Would you clean up the shit?
For how fucking stupid. That was fucking stupid.
We've said a lot of poop shit tonight.
It's so stupid. Why are we so childish?
I honestly didn't mean shit like to be funny. I meant to say like shit as in things, and I thought it was really funny. We've said a lot of poop shit tonight. I didn't say that.
Okay, wait. Back to the episode. Okay, professional. Okay, so
Bitch wear.
I know, right? So Fran shows up in this red dress, and I hated it. I hate
that dress so much. I hate that dress.
Fucking hate that red dress. It does not fit her well.
Nope.
It makes her look unflattering.
Mm-hmm. It gives her no curves.
Gives her no curves. The hair drowns. Like, it's so weird to say this because I'm all about if you're pale, embrace your paleness. But she looked ridiculously pale, and she's not that pale.
Stickly pale.
It's because her hair is so dark, and the dress was so red that it made her skin tone look so pale and like.
And there's nothing else. It's not like it's red and she has a shawl and there's something else that breaks that up, right?
Yeah.
And because it's like a spaghetti strap, essentially, like there's no like thick strap. There's nothing there that helps like bring it together. You focus more on the exposed skin, which, you know, it's not flattering. I've never liked that dress.
If I could give like an ugly outfit of the episode, it would go to that.
And I would agree. But I do like the line about Cece and such with that dress.
Oh yeah, that's great. She just goes in on that dress.
I was like, I wouldn't be caught dead wearing that dress. You'd have to be dead 6 months in order to fit in it.
Oh, get 'em. But this is where we get a great moment of showing how well Fran has figured out Maxwell, and she fully manipulates Maxwell into giving free tickets to a concert to Maggie, which
is really the B plot of the episode. I feel like Grace is the C plot.
So Maggie is the B plot, but the B plot ends up merging into the main plot of the episode. Yeah. So it like for me,
it's a weird thing.
Yeah, it's like it almost makes the Theo stuff like the Theo is the main the main part of the episode, but the Maggie stuff is the wrap up that like leads us to like this fun moment between Fran and Maxwell at the very end.
Yeah.
But we get to that moment where she's just like, yeah, it's right. It's so out of his wheelhouse. He definitely couldn't get you those tickets. And it just like fully hook, line, and sinker, like Maxwell.
It's just great because he knows they're about to ask something and says no without even allowing them to ask what it is. And Fran just can manipulate the crap out of him. And what I love about this the most, and I don't know if you pick up on the subtlety of this, is that he's playing chess. And so like she's literally playing chess with him. He's playing chess with Brighton. And it's like those little things that I think are so smart upon a rewatch that like you don't really think about or like care to see, but like the amount of times I've watched this, and I love that like he and Brighton are sitting there playing chess together, and like, but the real chess game is like how Fran is
easy. It's like nothing to her. She's just like, hey, Fran, can you do this for me? Oh yeah, I guess sure. And then just fully manipulates them into giving free tickets. It's just like, okay, I gotta go. So she meets Theo, and Theo is much older than Fran. But he seems very sweet, and I love this gag that they constantly do where she accidentally hits him on the shoulder and he's like, oh, about to fall. It's so good. It's so stupid. What was your thoughts? Okay. At being gay, there's a lot of older men that date younger men. So for you, as a woman who has dated men before, What are your thoughts on a younger woman dating an older man, and how does that feel as a dynamic? I don't know if you've ever done that before, or
So I've only dated like when I've dated mostly younger or the same age.
Okay.
And all of these relationships have taken place over the course of my teenage years to my mid 20s.
Got
And then
it.
I haven't dated anybody since my mid 20s, really. I've gone out on dates with people.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I now know that I seek out older people. And part of that, and I know that a lot of women do too. And a lot of that has to do with like the quote, like the maturity that goes along with it, that like women are kind of forced to mature faster. So they seek out like guys who have their shit together. So if like you're a 25-year-old, you're more likely to want to look for like a 30-plus-year-old guy because like
Oh, wow.
they
Okay.
don't act like a 25-year-old guy, which acts like a 20-year-old girl. Like it's like there's a 5-year difference between that for a long time. And then when you reach your 30s, you're like, I'll take what I can get. But I won't lie, like men to me, I've always preferred men who are older than me. I haven't really dated any of them, but like
Yeah.
when I think about people who I think are like who I have crushes on, they're consistently 5 to 10 years older than me.
Oh,
Like
wow.
even now,
Okay.
like I look at guys and I'm like, you know what? I would like a love like a mid to late 30s to early 40s.
You're like a good clean mid 60s.
Yeah, like right in my dad's age range. That's what we're looking for. I want to fulfill that trope like you wouldn't believe. Like go after someone who is basically just your father.
Yeah.
Let's fulfill that psychological prophecy. Which, by the way, I am basically my father. So that's just me being egotistical at the end of the day. Be like, who is someone who loves to tell stories, loves to be the center of attention, is stubborn in their leadership, and like all those different kinds of things. Me.
I think that is perfect for you, though. Do you think you could date another you?
No.
Yeah, same. I couldn't date another me.
I need someone who complements it, though. I don't need someone who's on the opposite. I couldn't date someone who's quiet. I need someone who has a personality that gels with mine and kind of pushes me a little bit.
Yeah.
Like I am competitive. I don't want someone who I'm just constantly competing with, but like I want somebody who's like not going to let me dominate the show because it's not fun for me. I want somebody who's like going to also want to butt in and say their parts of the conversation, right? But if I dated someone who was just like me, I think I'd like literally we'd rip each other's heads off.
Yeah, I think like that's why I got very lucky like when I found Nigel, is because I am much more mature when it comes to like finances and like, put money away and saving. And I'm very good
Do you
about
have a lot
like
of Capricorn in your chart?
I have no fucking clue.
We should do this sometime. I want to
We should
figure out
do
what your
it.
chart is because here's the thing. You two make a lot of sense from a sun sign perspective.
Yeah.
Sagittarius and Aries, great. Any air sign and any fire sign. What did I say? Aquarius.
Aries.
Sorry, I meant to say Aquarius.
Oh, okay.
Not Aries. Sorry. But you guys are air, like Aquarius is an air sign, Sagittarius fire sign. You go very, very well together.
Like personality wise, we get along very well.
Absolutely. So.
And like, but he is like spontaneous, which is someone I kind of need. Like I need someone that like has a bit of spontaneity. I typically will not do things and he's like, fuck it, let's do it. And I'm like, oh, fuck it. All right. And then I end up having fun doing it.
Yeah.
And he's very organized in like at home. So like, he's very good about like keeping things clean, being very organized, and it helps me be clean and helps me be. Did you hear it? He's playing games in the background.
I just went,
and he's dead. No.
I need someone who's willing to like literally die at any given second.
There you go.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Like, like my partner is very, very stable, right?
Yeah.
Somebody who like I just like need someone who's gonna like essentially hold me, and that's why my bed and I get along so well.
I love that. That's the OTP right there.
The
OTP, honey.
What's OTP?
One true pairing.
Oh,
yeah, that's what the kids say. At least I don't.
Did you like my fingers caught each other and they didn't actually go into place? It was like.
Interesting. Let's discuss this.
Discuss.
Discuss
Get your topic.
Coffee talk.
Why do you park in a driveway, drive on a parkway?
Oh my god, the old age. I mean, age old.
That was a good one.
That was a good one. That was a good one.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. So basically, Theo and Fran go on this date, and it's very successful. Apparently, it was a very successful date, and he showers her with gifts the next day.
A whole bunch of flowers. And I love that Niall said it either went really well or it went so poorly that we're hosting the funeral, because they were funeral bouquets.
They definitely were funeral flowers.
If only they had the one that had like the flower stand that has like the wreath on it or whatever. Yeah. Like if they had one of those in there, I would have friggin' died. Like if he said that moment, if he was like, or we're hosting the thing, and then goes off stage and brings it on like it just got delivered, I would die.
It was
like
good.
Theo.
Like Theo. So I really love this like moment where there's not like much that happens. There's just a lot of funny moments that happen at this breakfast. But then Theo shows up and takes her to fucking Paris for lunch. I love that. I love that.
Dinner.
Or for dinner. Yes.
It goes for lunch.
Well, also like they wouldn't arrive in time for lunch, but
late lunch.
Yeah, very late lunch. So they go to Paris for dinner. And this is where I almost made my outfit of the episode. I really loved this shiny yellow turtleneck dress that Fran is wearing, because it's like glittery and it's kind of like sparkly. It reflects the light very well. But this is a fun moment where what I really appreciated here is it would have been very easy for the writers to make Kathy a villain, but they didn't. And instead they were just like, you're just a boss woman making boss moves, and you know what? Make that money, girl. And that's basically what they said. They were like, Kathy was like fully accepting of like Fran and was like, girl, let me teach you the ropes. Like you'll never be broke a day in your life.
Teach you the ropes. It's going to be great. And I also love that. Like, I think here's the other thing at the end of the day, like we're having a big conversation about this now. A lot of this has to do with Gen Z being like very vocally supportive of both sex workers and like women who, or men or people just in general, regardless of gender, who take on a sugar baby role. And there's a sugar baby aspect to this that is that we see with Kathy, where, you know, there is that moment. And I hate, this is part of the reason why I really don't like this episode. I really hate when he's like, oh, look at the baby.
It's so gross. I wrote that down. I was like, what the fuck? And then she's like, what if he wants to burp you? And she's like, he can burp. And then the way she like arches
she's
her
like,
back,
he can burp me all he wants. But that's what I'm saying is like, I prefer how Kathy says it, because she's fully like owning it. Like, yeah, we have an understanding. Our relationship is not built on love. It's built on he loves my body and I love his money. Like that is what it's built off of. And there's a shared understanding there. And like, why should people give a shit if that is what their arrangement
relationship is?
Great.
Yeah.
I mean, my aunt, her husband. Okay, well, my aunt's third husband, unfortunately.
There's the story there. Just kidding.
I mean, I like growing up, I've always pictured my Aunt Alice as Sylvia in this episode.
Okay.
Like, or not in this episode, in this series. Like, she's not like, you know, a Jewish woman from Queens, but there's a lot of mannerisms and like the assertiveness that she'll do that is sometimes borderline like, was that rude? I don't really, you know, like those kind of things.
Yeah.
Some of the way she dresses and accessorizes. But regardless, her third husband passed away a couple years ago. And they basically met and were like, do you want to be like companion friends and get married? But like their relationship was really not romantic love. It was just like having a companion in later life in their 70s and such, you know? And I just, because the love of her life had passed away before that. So she didn't really want to find somebody in his love of his life had passed away, I think. So, but I love that, like, there were various different reasons why people get married. There are various different reasons why people choose the partner that they do. And I love that an episode of The Nanny in 1994 is coming out there and being like, yeah, there are women who are like that. And what? And I like that the woman's taking ownership over it in the role. That's
why I always laugh when people are like, the sanctity of marriage. And I'm like, do you know the history of marriage? Because there ain't nothing sacred about it. but
I'm gonna put out something right there. That was a fact that was I've known, but like like facts that you know, but you didn't know until like
Yeah.
someone like shines a light on it. I'm gonna give you the one right there. Women don't have last names of their own. They're always a man's last name.
yeah, it's true.
If it's not their father's last name, they take on their husband's, whatever. Even if they kept their own last name when they get married, it was their father's.
Yeah.
Like, so the agency that like women have had even throughout history and like marriage and such, like hasn't created generations. And it's going to change a little bit now moving forward, but like, it's just very interesting. So the agency and like women having relationships, the sanctity of marriage and such has never been built on like an equal playing field. So that's why I love when you have people like Kathy's character who challenge that with like,
yeah, she's like, he can burp me, he can grab my ass and spank me, and
because you know what, he's
you know.
making another million when he does it, and I already have that spent.
Yep.
Good for her.
Yeah, she has lobster in front of her and doesn't eat it. So
well, clearly she's not having a baby. So good for her because she's not pregnant.
So then they end up after Paris, Fran is thinking about breaking up with Theo because he didn't really spend time with her. It was being in the presence of her was enough. He was like, I don't really want to get to know you. It's just the act of being around you is kind of like good enough for me.
Yeah.
So she sends him a box of his stuff back. And it's really funny when Niall's like, did you pack everything?
Show me your hands. No.
Show me. Open your purse.
Show me your lips. Not the ones on your face.
What the fuck?
What did you shove up there?
Oh my God.
And she's like, it's a diamond and it was a bad idea.
But this is when Maxwell comes in and was like, she's like, I need someone that'll value my opinion. And then Maxwell, this is the same joke. They've had it over and over again where the writers are like, we are telling you they're great for each other.
Oh, that's what you got out of that?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
And so Fran convinces him, let's go to the concert. We'll go 2 seats back and we'll watch. And this is where we get the outfit of the episode for me. This metallic silver, cheap looking jacket and skirt.
I love it.
I love it.
So cute.
It's so cheap looking. I was like, I've seen that in a thrift store in the 90s for sure. Like, absolutely. I loved it though. And
you could find that nowadays in the store. Absolutely,
you could. But it was so cute. And this is the last kind of note that I wrote was while I love these funny moments between Fran and Maxwell, I am getting sick of them beating us over the head with it. Just give us it. Like either give us it or just shut up about it. It's like this is like the 3rd or 4th episode that they've done this in, where it's just like, will they, won't they? Oh, it's right in front of them. They're the only ones who don't see it. And I'm like, you can only use that joke so much. It's funny. Don't get me wrong.
Of course.
It did not slight this episode in any way, but I'm all like, y'all can do better than this. Like you could do better than this. But also Cece sweeping in and stealing Theo getting on Theo's arm was fucking hilarious.
And the way that she's just like owning her spot and like,
she looked good. She looked real good.
She sure did.
But Fran kept the necklace, so she won in the end.
I love, and then she takes her turtleneck and goes, see?
That's what's been underneath there the entire time.
Now you know why she was wearing a turtleneck, because she basically stole a diamond necklace.
Yeah, so overall, this episode, pretty good. I think after we just finished talking about it, I might bump it down to a 6.5 out of 10 or a 6 out of 10.
Solid.
Just because on further inspection, there are some aspects of it that I'm just like, they could have done better. But there definitely had its laugh out loud moments. I think the MVP is going to go to Probably Fran. It's going to have to go to Fran in this one. She does a great job of getting Maggie the tickets. She's very level-headed with her interactions with Theo. She manages to cut off the relationship at a healthy time, and she doesn't like string things along just to string things along. And then she also like has that fun moment with Maxwell. She's like mediating it. It's like, well, if you're afraid of what Maggie's going to do, let's just go to the concert. And
I would love if like this was just a ploy for her to get tickets to go to the concert in the long run. Like if she like really wanted it. And then she's like, oh, this is awful. Yeah.
Yeah.
So funny.
The LVP definitely goes to Cece this episode. We've already kind of talked about that, but overall, this definitely the worst episode of season 2 so far, but that's still not awful.
No, it's not bad. And like I said, I honestly truly believe that like season 2 is much stronger than season 1. I think it gets better and better. I've kept in mind why people said season 4 might be the worst because I didn't see the reasons why. And upon my most recent rewatch, I can understand that. And I think that season 2, season 3 are probably why people really like those seasons. So I think that we'll see.
Yeah, I'm curious.
So the next episode is called Curse of the Grandmas.
Oh, I love that name. Okay, Curse of the Grandmas. Okay.
What do you think it's about?
Curse of the Grandmas. So maybe this is an episode where I'm going to go on a weird limb here.
I'm excited because if you got this right,
okay,
I'm going to flip over the table.
So,
like, he's seen it.
And you're going to pretend that I got it right regardless of what I say. I know the bit, Beth.
Am I like the nanny and I do a recurring bit all the time?
So my guess, this is out of left field. Someone in Fran's family dies, Fran's extended family. It is a great grandmother. And like, maybe there's a bit where Maxwell's like, she's alive. Like, what? And they all go to the funeral and Fran's not even bothered. Like, no one, that's like the weird part is they go to this funeral and no one's really bothered by this like elderly person in their family that has died because there's so many family members that are in Fran's family. They're like, oh yeah, she had it coming, you know, she owed me money. But it or something like that. It bothers Fran. It bothers Fran that no one was like sat at the funeral. So it's called Curse of the Grandma. What was it called again?
Curse of the Grandmas.
Curse of the Grandmas, because this is going to be another moment where like maybe Sylvia herself, like all of her family are kind of like showcased throughout the episode. Think that they are now cursed because they did not celebrate the life of someone in their family when they went to the funeral. How was I way off?
I was going to try to do a spit take as like, oh my God, he got it. But then I didn't want to waste the seltzer. So I didn't. No. Just you were nowhere near it. So
damn it. I was hoping.
I will say that it is somewhat of a Gracie centered episode, which is kind of interesting.
Oh, okay. That'll be very interesting then. Cool. So thank you all so much for tuning into Hot Mess Moments this week. We will see you on Thursday with our Lost recap of Lost Season 2, Episode 4. And we'll be back here next week with The Nanny Season 2, Episode 5, Curse of the Grandmas.
Yeah.
So until then.
Until then, you can find me at Augusta Wind 11. You can find him at 8-Bit Dylan, but you can find both of us at Hot Mess Moments. And massive shout out to our fan here who created a whole new logo for us. That was like the Dharma logo with Fran.
Oh my God, it
How
was
amazing
so
was that? That was I want to look it up again just to make sure. That was by Travis Mack. Thank you so much, Travis.
It was so cool.
This was so cool to the point where I was like, all right, we got to figure out how we put this in our branding plan.
It was good. It's like
it was so good.
The Dharma Initiative logo, but with Fran in the middle. And honestly, I want that to be one of the stations.
It's like this one's called The Nanny.
The
Station 4, The Nanny.
The Nanny. And it's just Fran just being like, what?
If
What?
I want this to, I'm just going to put this out there. If y'all have really kept this a secret and we find out that the Dharma Initiative had a whole site that was just The Nanny,
Flushing Queens,
but was like literally just like, they were like, oh yeah, and like we go back in time in this site to 1993 on Park Avenue, and we're gonna make like the Dharma person is her name is Fran Fine, and she's the Shades of the Orient cosmetic lady, and then she abandons her site and becomes the nanny. If that's the real
it is.
here,
That's what happens. That's why I actually approached you about this podcast, because they connect.
Wow.
In season 3.
I can't wait to see how they connect. It's going to be so great.
It's going to be amazing.
I should have known, because there were, even though that was like 7 years after the season or the series ended, there's absolutely crossover episodes.
You know what I'm hoping? Mm-hmm. I'm hoping that there's like actors that are in the Nanny that somehow show up in Lost and we don't realize it until like way later.
Okay, I would like to point out that if that happens, I'm going to be the one who definitely notices it, because for those who don't know, we watched Twilight together, and I got all I like, and I wish I could post this, and I won't. I want to be respectful of your husband's wishes and such of not to post this video, but like, I literally got so excited because I was like, Dylan has never seen the part where the woman who plays Shannon ends up being like the reason why the Volturi go after her.
Yes.
They like reveal her face. And I go, da, da, da. And he goes, who is that?
I heard you do the thing. I was like, what the fuck are you doing?
And even Nigel just goes, what do you mean? What do you mean? That's Shannon from Lost. And he's like, that's Shannon? And I was like, what?
I didn't even recognize her.
It was
she looked different. Funny. She looked different. Okay. She looked different.
Yeah, she had the golden vampire eyes. That was really it. That just made it so different.
It's like Superman with the glasses. You just can't tell.
Oh, man. On that note, though, thank you all so much for joining us once again. And we will see you on Thursday and next week for our coverage of Lost and next episode of The Nanny. Bye.
Bye. I knew you were going to do that. Bye.